Hey everyone, this is going to be a video on how to take a look at creating the next drawing in our drawing set for the Sunset Key vacation home design that we've been working on. So last time when we met, we took care of the elevation view drawing. Over here in your project browser, you're going to see A102 elevations, and you're going to notice that it has this little tree that shows all the views that are contained onto that sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and select the minus sign next to A102 elevations. To collapse it, I like to do that just to condense some things down. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new sheet by right-clicking on Sheets All, selecting New Sheet. We're going to stay with the 11 by 17 horizontal, and I'm going to select OK. So if you go through, and depending upon, I've kind of been testing some things out. So yours will probably say A103 unnamed, but if yours has a different number, we can always change that. And that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to right-click on this drawing name, and I'm going to say rename. I'm going to change mine to A103, and this is going to be the floor plan. So this is what you should have on your screen as well. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to scroll up in the project browser, and I'm going to find my first floor plan. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on it to be able to open that up. So the first floor plan is going to be what's going to be put onto this sheet. We only have one floor really that we're going through and creating furnishing and everything else for. So when we go to do other drawings in this drawing set, we're actually going to use the floor plan in a couple other drawings as well. So one thing I told you the other day was that Revit only likes one view to be on one sheet, and it doesn't like you to reuse the same view on different pages. So what we're going to do to get around that is I'm going to right click on the first floor plan. I want to select duplicate view, and from the flyout menu select duplicate. It's going to create a copy of the first floor, and you'll see this is highlighted now, and it even says it up here in the tab at the top of the graphics window. I'm going to rename that by right clicking on it and selecting rename from the menu. So I'm going to go ahead and arrow over. We're going to keep this as O1 first floor, but I'm going to go ahead and call this the furniture plan, and that'll be used in sheet number 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and on the first floor plan again, let's duplicate one more time, and on the copy, let's rename this to be for schedule. And I'm going to select enter once I enter the name. So we got two copies of the first floor plan that we're going to use in two other drawings later in some other videos. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the first floor plan, making sure that I'm here. And even I'm going to close these other ones down so you can select the X to get rid of those. Make sure that your tab says 01 first floor for this next step. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and either over here in my properties palette, I can find visibility graphics and select edit, or I can select VV on my keyboard. I want to hide a lot of the furniture that's in the plan. I can keep some of the plumbing fixtures like the toilet, the sink, the shower, and even like the kitchen sink, but I really want to hide the furniture. So I'm going to press the F key to go down to the F section, uncheck furniture, select apply. I usually like to do that so that way I can see what's kind of disappearing. I kind of move this menu over so that way I can kind of see what's disappearing and what's staying active. So here I've got this rectangle. This is actually a couch that was brought in from BIM objects. So if I go through and pull anything in from a website like that, Revit City, BIM objects, whatever that may be, Revit usually puts it in this generic models category. So I'm going to uncheck that and select apply, and you should see that disappear when that happens. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and select OK. Now a couple things, like if you have something on your floor plan that you're not sure, like it's like, okay, I've unchecked it, I think this is what it is, but I'm not sure, you can always just select the item. So like here I've got this washer and dryer combo, and over here in your properties palette it'll tell you what category it belongs to. So right now this is specialty equipment. I'm going to go ahead and hit VV and bring that back up, press the S key on my keyboard to go down to the S's, and I'm going to uncheck specialty equipment. Now what'll happen is, and I'm going to go ahead and select OK, is you'll probably see even some of the equipment from this kitchenette kind of disappeared. Really, we've got a pretty clean floor plan to be able to put down what information we need to put down. And again, keeping those fixtures in there is fine as far as that goes. Sometimes that helps identify the rooms and everything. Speaking of identifying rooms, let's go ahead and do that. So in the panel up here called room and area, we're going to choose the option for room, so which creates a room with separation lines to make that happen. So you see in the tooltip, it's going to go through, you just place your cursor inside of the room, and it's going to pick up the wall boundaries to be able to do that. So I'm going to select room. When I move into a room, I can go through and you can see the blue, light blue lines around the inside of the walls is where it's going to pick up. So I'm going to go ahead and click, and I'm going to go into this room. I'm going to click, and I'm going to go ahead and click into this room. Now, here's the big thing that we're going to take a look at, is that if they're like in an open floor plan concept, it's like Revit sees this as just one giant room. So I really don't want to place this room right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just, you'll notice if you go outside, it'll say not enclosed. So I'm going to go ahead and select cancel one time. And then that way it provides the rooms that we have kind of going on. Now you hopefully go through, because I've kind of played around with some of these. So I have gone through, I'm going to change this to room 1. So as we go along, so this is going to be 2. And this is going to be 3. So you probably don't have to do that. You're probably seeing that this is there. So I've been playing around with this file a little bit, and you may see some of those things. But it provides you a room. So if I double click on the room name, I can go through, this is going to be the master bedroom, and I can go ahead and type that in and select enter once I get done. This is going to be the bathroom, and here we can go through and call this the office / spare room. Okay, so, and it also gives you the square footage of the room. It automatically calculates that based upon the size of the room. Now in this scenario, we might want to go through and take a look at how can we separate this into 3 separate areas? Because we've got a kitchen, we've got a dining room, and we've got a living room. Well, this is going to be something called a room separator. So the room separator allows us to draw a line anytime there's 2 areas that's like there's not a wall there, but we want them to be separate in 2 areas. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to be just like drawing a line. So what I can do is I can go ahead and draw a line from one side of this wall to the other. I'm going to select cancel one time, and I'm going to draw another one maybe right about here. And at the moment, it really doesn't matter where those lines are at. But what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and select that line, and what I'm actually going to go through and take a look at is, you know, I can use the temporary dimensions if I want. So like here, if I toggle this to the inside, I do want to go through and kind of set up like what is where the room is at. So this is going to be 11 feet 9.5 inches, and that'll move that line away by that much. This line, so as we kind of go along, is going to be, so if you notice, it's going to pick up from this other line, so I don't need to worry about those witness lines, but this is going to be 11, and this is going to be 2 1/4. So that's going to move those lines into place there, these room separators. So now when I go to room, once I have the room separators, here it's now going to bound based upon the room separator lines. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the kitchen. I'll go ahead and grab the dining room, and then this is going to be the living room. I'm going to go ahead and hit escape on my keyboard, or you can right click and say cancel. Let's go ahead. I'm going to change this. This will be the kitchen, and I'm actually going to change my numbering, so which is going to give me a little warning that I've got duplicates, which is okay. I'll fix that here in a little bit. Dining room, yours will probably have the right numbers that are matching. This is the living room, and this will be room number 6. So now we should see 156 square feet, 148 square feet, 135 for the kitchen, and there are our rooms. If we need to adjust and move these, you can always select them, use this little item, and be able to move these around a little bit. If the placement of them is kind of not ideal, you can always go through and kind of do that. Okay, so I'm going to kind of adjust those just so that way they look a little bit better. Okay, so this helps label our floor plan. The other thing that we may want to go through and do is to be able to label what exactly we have, like maybe even the dimensions of the rooms, because right now, like we have these room separators, but I don't want those to be on my floor plan. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select VV. I'm going to go down to lines. So lines are here. Now I don't want to take away all the lines, because if I uncheck this and hit apply, it is going to get rid of every single thing. So I'm going to actually check that back on and click OK, because I will get rid of some lines that we need. I'm going to go ahead and click the plus sign, and you're going to see all these different types of lines. One of them is down here called room separation. I'm going to uncheck just the room separation, click apply, and then select OK. So that way those lines will disappear, because we're not going to see those lines, you know, in the actual part. So our thing here that we're going to take a look at is I'm going to go to the Annotate tab, and we're going to use that text tool. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a little text box in here. This room is going to be 13 feet dash 7 inches. And then I'm going to put an X, and then this is going to be 10 foot 10 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and click off of that. So the text size, we may want to go down to even a, looks like I might have to cancel off my tool here. There we go. Select my text. Let's go to an 1/8 inch Arial. 1/8 inch looks pretty good as far as that goes. But sometimes we may want to go through and detail kind of what we have going on here. I'm going to go ahead and, you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this. I'm actually going to highlight. I'm going to do Control C on my keyboard to copy. You can also go up here to your clipboard, say copy to clipboard. So I can click on that. I'm going to click close. And then you can place that text dimension there. I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go through and copy or paste. So if I, you know, go through and take a look at any of these particular cases, if I do a Control V or even run my text tool, I need to do that. Draw my little text box, Control V. You can also select paste from the clipboard, and that'll put that in there. I'm gonna go ahead and put another one. You can click paste, or you can do Control V off your keyboard. That'll put those sizes in, and then all we have to do, rather than having to type all that stuff in, is now we just got to change some of our formatting. So this is going to be 13 2.5 inches by 10 feet, and then this is going to be 2 1/4 inches. So that's going to go through and fix that. Again, this is just kind of fixing those particular cases. So 2.5 inches. And we're going to put in what these measurements were that we put in for our room separation lines that we had. Okay, so that goes through and puts in that information just to give you. I usually kind of put it near there. A lot of the other times that, especially in these rooms, because we don't have lines to pull from, we can go through and put the approximate room sizes. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and on the Annotate tab, I'm going to grab underneath the Dimension panel, I'm going to grab the Aligned dimension, and all we have left is to go through and place some dimensions that are in here. Now, some of you may have this going on where it's like, oh, I placed a dimension, why can't I see what's going on? This is going to be, just like for me, this is going to be a visibility graphics issue. So I need to go into annotation categories. Early on, we turned this off, and some of you might have turned it back on, but if you need to turn it back on, just open up, make sure you go to annotation categories, find dimensions, check that, select OK. And then that way you can go through and you can see. So you're going to see here I've got a bunch of dimensions. It's pretty easy to go through and place your dimensions. So you're just going to follow what you had going on. So again, align dimension. I'm going to go ahead and follow the dimensions that we had, and I'm just going to place them just like how we've done before. You know, and we're going to dimension this floor plan. Okay. Now the outside, I will show you. You're going to see all these dimensions here. So you should have a 34 and a 28. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this set of dimensions. So when we go to dimension anything along the outside perimeter, we're going to dimension, you're going to notice where it kind of dimensions to. So I'm going to go ahead and grab an align dimension. I'm going to start at the corner. I want to go through and grab, you're going to notice it's going to pick up the center of like this door. And I'm just going to keep going down through and just keep clicking to get a chain dimension that's going on. And so we're going to go right to the center, and I'm going to go right to the end. And I'm going to go ahead and place these dimensions right inside of that 34 feet dimension. And that's really what it takes with architectural dimensioning. So like here in my next one, I'm going to click this line. I'm going to go to the center of the window, and I'm going to go to the center of the next window. So any windows or doors, we're going to click to the center to, and I'm going to go ahead and place those. Same thing here along the top. I'm going to click the edge, click here, there, and then all the way over here to the corner. So that way we know where the measurements are from the corner of the building to where the window is going to be placed and everything there. Again, we always go to the centers. So that's why, just like on the doors, we're going to go through and we're going to pick that up as we go along. So center of the window to the end. So, and I like to place them inside of those 28 and 34 feet measurements. So that's really what we're looking for a floor plan, and to make sure that we have all of that detailing. So you'll see that kind of stuff there. All right, one thing you may notice, there's a little section view indicator that's on the example sheet. We'll work that in later. And let's go ahead and go down to our drawing. So here's our floor plan. All I have to do is drag that floor plan on. Go ahead and place my first floor plan. So if for some reason that this doesn't really fit very well, here's the best part about it, is that I have my view label. So I'm going to pull this up. The 1/4 inch is really pretty good. I can read this pretty clearly, so it's not really running into anything. But here is where the problem is these dimensions are kind of running outside of the border. I can make this fit pretty well, but if I go ahead and if I double left click on it to activate the view, I can actually drag these dimensions a little closer. So then that way, or drag them further away. So I'm going to kind of just drag them inside of the border, click off of it, and you'll notice that the view is still active. So I could go through and add more stuff here on this view, but I've already got that done. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double left click off, so that way this comes back up to deactivate the view. But I want to make sure nothing's running into the border or outside the page, and I want to make sure my view label's in here very clearly presentable, that I can see the scaling. And I think a 1/4 inch is going to work pretty well for our scale, and that's really what you need for the floor plan. It's just the labels, your room labels, and with the square footages, some of the dimensions that are there, and then of course the outer dimensions for where the locations of the doors and windows are, and the overall footprint of the building. So this will finish up A103. Take a look at the next project, or actually the next video I should say, of where we will look at in this project to create the furniture plan.